Alright, so let's talk about these phones. And let's start off with the Galaxy S8. Now, the Galaxy S8 was my first Samsung phone, I think, ever. No, I've had like really old flip phones, I think, from Samsung, but this is my first Samsung smartphone ever. And if you guys don't know, a while ago, I was a pretty big Samsung hater. You know, you guys see those Apple fanboys warring in the comments of YouTube and stuff. Yeah, I used to be one of those. So of course, I've kind of changed my views and I've kind of matured over the years, but this was the first Samsung device I bought. Now, if you can see the table, you probably know that it was not the last one I bought. So that means something went right. So the S8 is, in fact, I think that I'm going to be pretty clear. The S8 is still one of my favorite Android phones ever. It's definitely the Android phone that finally convinced me that Android is a pretty good platform too. The hardware was amazing, and it definitely changed my view of Samsung for the better. It's just one of the best phones, and I still love this so much. The reasons I loved it: the display. The display is one of the most beautiful displays I've ever seen. The back, the color, orchid gray, again, beautiful finish. It's just one of the nicest looking phones ever, and it was just so hard to give up. So when time came, when the S9 was announced, I absolutely was jumping. There was no doubt in my mind whether I was buying it or not. Now, the problem came down to two things. One, I had a poll in my comments where I asked people, do you want me to cover the S9 Plus or the S9? Because the only difference, they had a couple, but the two main differences, one was that the S9 had less RAM and it had one less camera, whereas the S9 Plus had 6 gigs of RAM with a dual camera. Everything else was shared. So I was kind of confused, and the majority of people said we want to see content on the S9. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll buy the S9. It's okay. So I decided that, and then when the launch came around, the issue that arose was that there was only 3 color options. There was a lilac purple or pink, I don't even remember that color name. There was this coral blue, and there was midnight black. So I had the midnight black Note 8, and I really didn't like the color because it just felt like it was hiding that design. It was just way too under the radar. I love under the radar, but for some reason that black was just way too under the radar. So I decided, I'm going with a color, and the lilac purple or pink, whatever it was, that was just not happening. So I settled with the coral blue. And yes, I mean settled. I know it's such a douchey thing to say, but yes, I did. It wasn't my first choice at all. My first choice was titanium gray, which the color S9 is in. Now, you guys are wondering, why are you complaining so much about the S9 Plus? You have the S9 as well. Well, this is because I actually didn't buy this with this. I bought this months later, and it's an interesting story. So you guys have never seen this on the channel because the one video I did make of it, the audio was so terrible, I just had to scrap the video. I think it was up very shortly on my channel. I think a few people watched it before I pulled it. I realized the audio was just too bad. So I actually bought this at an airport in, it was Abu Dhabi. So I bought it in the Middle East because that was one of the only countries where this color was available. So this is titanium gray, and I think it is the best color on any smartphone till date. I don't think there's a better color than this. It is so good. It's even better than the S8, which I really love as well. So this is one of my favorite colors, and I just knew I had to get this when I saw it. So the problem again now is that I have an S9 Plus and an S9. Now, I was thinking about, when I started using the S9, the biggest problem I had with it was that it looked just like the S8, but the apps were large, like the icons were larger, just the stuff, everything was larger. It wasn't taking advantage of all that screen estate. So I was like, what is the point if I'm just going to have larger icons? I might as well have the smaller phone, which is more comfortable in my hand, because the S9 is a pretty massive phone, the S9 Plus, I'm sorry, compared to the S9. So I made the decision that if I do get the opportunity to buy an S9 in a color I want, I will take it, and that's exactly what I did. So I've had this for a few months now, and ever since I bought this, I've almost never touched this phone, and that is why I'm making this video. You probably know by the title, but I just sold this phone. So this phone is going away, going out of my life, and I'm actually not going to miss it at all because I never fell in love with it. The S9 Plus, the S9 I fell in love with. The S8 I'm still in love with, and this one just never really hit me the right way. I've always Tried to like it, but I just never could. The color never spoke to me. The larger screen, but just no real usage of the larger display kind of irked me. And I always just kind of miss the smaller, more compact size of the S8. So I made that choice, and I'm happy with it. This is kind of weird because generally I've always been someone who thought that I liked larger phones, but as time is going on, I'm kind of learning that I actually prefer these smaller, a little bit more compact phones. So 5.8 inches, it seems to be where I'm really liking these screen sizes now. And so that's it. That's kind of the story behind why I'm selling the Galaxy S9 Plus. It's a great phone. I really liked it, but it's just it never spoke to me. I never fell in love with it. That's why I picked up the S9. And till date, I think the S9 and S9 Plus are definitely one of the best Android phones you can pick up. If you like the larger screen and don't mind that it's not taking advantage of the larger display, it doesn't really matter to many people. Definitely the S9 Plus is a good way to go. The dual camera adds a little bit of, it is there for you if you need it. The 6 gigs of RAM definitely helps on Android. This is only 4, so you do feel it sometimes. Otherwise, I am definitely way happier with this. Just look at the color. Everything about it, I think, is amazing. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Have you ever had a situation where you bought a phone, but you sold it for a very similar phone or something like that? Because this one was kind of interesting because I usually don't do this. I avoid doing this. I buy what I want in the first place and don't mess around, because now I have 2 of the same phones essentially, and I am kind of stuck with them more or less, and I was stuck with them, and I'm losing a lot of money selling this phone, and it's in perfect condition, but it is what it is. And it just kind of goes to show that you got to be a little bit careful when you're making these decisions. I definitely didn't make the smart choice there, but as the situation was, at that point, I couldn't not buy it because content is kind of time sensitive with phones. You got to get them out as soon as possible. And if I didn't buy this and I waited months, I probably would have made, the videos just wouldn't have done so well. So that's it. I'm definitely in love with the S9. So these 2 are going to probably stay forever. This one is gone. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Between the S9, S9 Plus, or the S8, S8 Plus, which one do you guys like? Did you like the Plus models better or the smaller ones? It would be very interesting to start a conversation with you guys down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.